Hello, everybody. Great to be with you again. Good to be back in the micro studio after a holiday break. Um, I wanted to talk to you today. There's a written post I just did yesterday called "Working with Your Secret Teacher," I think, and that's about when we begin to really notice that we're probably already in something of the awakened state. We don't have to be. We can connect with that inner teacher much earlier, and we probably will if we are doing a lot of practices, a lot of study. That kind of comes with that territory very often, but not always. But that inner teacher is when we begin to notice that is when we notice that we're getting specific direction. In other words, it's always a whisper. It's never a scream. It's never. We don't have to follow our inner teacher. We can screw up instead if we want. So, but the point I really want to make is that inner teacher is that tug. It's that little push. It's that little tug. It's that light whisper that says, "Try this, try that, do this. How about this? Whatever." And what I want to talk about here is really a larger thing, which is the longer that we go with this, the less we may receive specific instruction from an inner teacher, so to speak. And again, all of these words are inner teacher, outer teacher, absolute, relative, enlightened, unenlightened. All of that they're just terms for teaching. None of them really mean squat in the end. There's no separation whatsoever anywhere. So, but there reaches a point as we're in enlightenment longer and longer, where we get fewer and fewer of these specific tugs from our inner teacher, because guess what? We don't need so many. We're beginning to live a little bit more skillfully, and we're beginning to see things, quote, for ourselves. And as a result of that, we just we don't need that sort of tug push guidance as often. I mean, I'll still get it if this starts to go into misidentification or something like that, then I'll get that little push or tug, thank God, which will keep me from going down the suffering road. But as a general rule, what happens is that I can now watch stuff coming. I can watch stuff coming. I can see potential screw-ups, potential misidentification, potential suffering before it arrives. It's great. And then the thing is that then you're not actually caught by surprise by the surprising situation. God, don't you love the way this language goes sometimes? But there's no other way to talk about it. What there is, I don't know it. So let me give you an example. About 2.5 months ago, my father-in-law, who's 94 years old, bought a new Prius. Now, he needed a new Prius about like he needed a hole in the head. But he had a grand plan to help one of his sons out and all this. And anyway, it just didn't work out quite the way he expected. And he ended up with a Prius he didn't need, So 2.5 months ago, when my father-in-law, who is 94, bought that Prius, the first thing that popped in my head was, oh, I see, God is angling to get me in a Prius. Because, see, it actually is an ideal car for, spiritual teacher. It's good for the image. It's great for the planet. I'm in love with that. I really don't drive much anyway, but I love the idea that I'm leaving a lighter footprint. I'm real big on that. So, and I just knew that was my car. I mean, I didn't covet it. I didn't want the car. I really did not. It wasn't a car. It wasn't the car that I would have chosen if I had gone out into the marketplace to buy a car. But I just could feel it. See, there was no inner teacher there going, "Hey, Chet just bought a car for you," It was nothing like that. It was just a feeling, or just a knowing. Really, it wasn't even a feeling. I was just as sure of it as the man in the moon. But I had thought, and my wife was the one who needed a car, but she didn't want to, we were not in a position where we wanted to go out and get a new car loan. At any rate, what happened is that 2.5 months later, Chat's got a Prius that he doesn't need, and they need to get rid of it, and it's a very good deal, and so I bought it, and I gave my Subaru wagon to Betsy, and which is a big upgrade for her, and she didn't really. I would have given her the Prius happily, but she didn't want the Prius because the Prius, you got to get used to them. They're a little bit different. It's a hybrid, and I'm an old car guy, and I still don't know what hell I'm doing in it yet, but I don't think it'll take long. But what I want to do is tell you that I just saw it coming, and I saw it slipping in. I saw it when the thing screwed up with the sun. I thought, oh, there it is. There's that car's coming. And there's nothing I can do, right? I mean, not that I really wanted to do anything, but it was just like, I see my destiny. This thing's coming, and there's nothing for me to do. And I didn't resist it, and nor did I encourage it. I did nothing to encourage this, but I just watched it come. And the next thing I knew, they handed me some paperwork, and I called my bank, and I called my insurance company, and bam, bam, I had a new car. I just put it in the driveway this morning. So what it really amounts to is that Betsy's got a new car, and that's what's important to me. But having seen this, it's not the new car, it's just having seen this thing come. And our lives are like that now. I mean, we can see situations. We can see there's no end to anything. So it's not like, oh, we can see the end of that story. There's no end to any story. But we can very often see the next chapter prior to its actual arrival. And this happens when you're in non-resistance, when you're just literally going with the flow, there's still very much of an identification of Fred-ness with this body. I mean, this is the closest body to that I'm identified with in this area. But it's not like I really think I'm this body or anything. I mean, I know I'm this body. I'm the oneness. I'm all of it. But I'm not limited to this body. So this body is part of the picture. But it's a damn small part of the picture. And what happens is that as everything ceases to be centrally directed, in other words, things are, because when there's a me here, when there's a center here, when there's Fred here, then Fred is the center of the world, and all this stuff is my furniture, and I'm just trying to get it right. And I can just get this stuff right, and these people doing the way they're supposed to be doing, then I'll be happy. That'll probably be day after tomorrow, something like that. So you can't actually make yourself surrender. In other words, you can't do that. You can't really do any of this. You can watch, and you can be willing. That's the big key. So are you willing to be less involved? You see, you can't make yourself be less involved. It's like there's all this stuff about, well, we need to give up all of our desires and stuff like this so that we can wake up. Well, good luck. I'm not saying nobody ever did, but I can tell you I never even came close. And I don't know anybody who did. Once you get here, then the desires just cease to be so profound. I don't want to say there are no preferences. There certainly are. But the desires cease to be so profound. I mean, I just noticed that, I noticed what I noticed really is that I've always got more than I need. And this is the truth. I really have more than I need. So if I've already got more than I need, how much more than I need do I need to have? So what I'm saying is that craving that I'm going to fix this by adding to this, to this deficient character over here, it just subsides. And you notice that, and the craving for more and gratitude for what is cannot coexist. So you got to decide, what's my point of view here? Am I going to go to answer all of my cravings, or am I going to put my focus on gratitude? Because it's always focus. See, in the same way that I can, because when we wake up, we have that one single choice that we ever get, which is that we get to decide where we're seeing things from. I can see things from Fred, or I can see things through Fred, from God through Fred, from awareness, consciousness, Tao, whatever you want. God is my shorthand. I'm not opposed to it, but I'm not, adamant about seeing that you use it. I just don't see. I just don't have it. I don't have opposition left for words like that. I don't have that in me to be against it. I don't have it in me to be against much. I mean, it doesn't mean that I'm encouraging unskillful living or poor behavior on the behalf of this one or any other human being, but it does mean that I'm open. I'm open to what is, because Betsy and I were talking this morning about a situation, about somebody that we felt like we could have directed a little bit better some years ago, and our advice was not sought, and there's been a price that's been paid, and it's been significant, but she said, I have not felt it necessary to tell anybody, I told you so. And I said, because actually we weren't even telling the truth, because the way that it has happened is the way that it should have happened. It couldn't have happened any other way. When we see that, where's the resistance? Where's the resistance to what is if it can't be any other way? And this all comes again with this idea of the sense of identification, moving from this to this. Because once I see that I'm this, that there can't be anything other than this, or I'm not other than this, better way to put it. But if I don't even know what I am, how about that? I don't even know what I am, and I don't. If I don't know what I am, then how can I possibly know what should be going on here? And I don't know what should be going on here. In the absence of the story of what should be going on here, we're hung with the reality of what is going on here. There's just this. There's just this. So there's no, that person should have done it different, or there's no, those people should have done it different. It's only happened the way it happened. There are no alternatives to what is. And there are no alternatives to the past, because if you go back and try to tweak the past, it would change what is. Do you see? So it's just nonsense. We're just trying to live in our heads instead of the world. And what I'm suggesting is live in the world instead. Wake down into the body. Live inside the world. And when you start living in the world, it'll start moving through you. You'll have it'll be beautiful and smooth. Well, I'm not going to say everything goes perfect. I don't mean it that way. But when you're in that flow, it's beautiful. It's smooth. You can see it coming. You're not surprised. You're not taken aback. It's just like, okay, thank you very much. Or it doesn't always mean that it's going to be a happy ending, but we can still see it coming. Not always, but very often. Particularly the large things, the large patterns, I have no idea what the weather's going to be tomorrow. So I don't know if this is helpful or not, but I enjoyed talking to you, and I'll see you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.